For years, we've been taking you to places like this and showing you the true heartbreak. The children whose only mistake was being born French in Canada. 27,000 died last night, but thousands more lived because of sponsors who made a difference in their life, and sometimes actually taught them to speak English. We know you all thought about it, put it on a nice to-do list, but how about the fact that you never got around to it? Even though that mouse, that keyboard, that phone is right there, and logging on or making the call is free. Maybe it just gets lost in how busy you are. Maybe you're just taking your time. But Russ Tyler and his friends don't have to the 12th of never. They need you today. And you're not busy at this moment, so how about right now? How about right this second? It's not the 80 cents a day. Sponsor a QC. Clean water, poutine, a doctor to see without a line. Finally, a school to go to that teaches the greatness of America. It's the best thing that can happen to 3 quarters and a nickel. And you don't have to worry. The Foundation for QC Rehabilitation Society, or FQCRS for short, 100% of all that 80 cents goes right to the QCs. So do us all a favor. Do the community a favor, do the league a favor, and donate today. I beg you. We are back at it again, episode 4 of the LG Snapshot. Trades, transparency, and apparently donations. Views and expressions on this show do not reflect those of LeagueGaming.com. On tonight's show, got a bunch of fun things going on. Welcome. We appreciate you all being here. Anaheim owner, MafiaMan 15, will be joining us in just a little bit. Of course, we have a bunch of things to talk about. We have everything going on in the league this week. It's crazy. Jockeying for position on FSU. He's joined us. Trades, trade reversals, bans, second tags, league image, trade deadlines, and of course our 3 stars and 3 scratches. But I can't do anything without this, without the help of my very good friends. They exist as follows. Number 1, first and foremost, 709. Welcome.
Hello everyone, how you guys doing? I hope you guys like that that QC promo we did for the league.
Oh, I hope everyone did. Let's bring in our next guy, our CHL liaison, always holding it down for us and doing 9 shows a week. More commitment to this league than I have. Powder Pete.
What's going on, everybody? Yeah, that little promo brought me to tears.
Did it?
Thought I was going to be helping some homeless animals or something, but then I actually paid attention. And
you are. You're helping homeless animals.
Same thing, right?
Third, but not least, well, kind of, at least we have him here on time. Eric E. Rice. Eric, 30 Eric. What's up, man? Oh, good. We have mic troubles from Eric tonight. That's going to be fun. And
it's not me this time.
It's not you this time. And we're going to have MafiaMan in just a little bit. So we have a lot of show. Before we begin, I want to make sure we talk about this right now. The LG All-Star selection for the AHL All-Star game, which takes place on Thursday, we're having the selections live tonight at 11 p.m. The link is different. So it's on our LeagueGaming.com page. It's over on the stream media tab over on LeagueGaming.com underneath the chat box. Go there at 11 p.m. So this show is going to go off at like 10:45. We're going to jump to that feed and do the All-Star selection live on this show. The AHL cares. That's how we're doing it. This is what we're doing. So it's going to be fun. I can't wait. I hope you guys can all join us for that. It should be fun. I'm Jeff. Will be joining us. Leafy TV. Eric will be providing color commentary, assuming his mic actually works. And don't forget, we want you to join in on the conversation. We're going to be reading your tweets live on the show on Twitter. Hashtag LG Snapshot. We'll take your questions, comments, concerns, and queries. Short final shot tonight if we can get some time in to actually do it. If we can't, we will just kind of throw it into the mix of what's happening during the show. Chat with us in the YouTube chat box. We have you guys live in there. Thanks for joining us. And also on the LeagueGaming.com chat box or in the threads. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. So, let me see what's happening here. MafiaMan is having connection troubles. I keep adding him to the call, but he keeps not accepting it. So let's see what happens for the 4th time. Okay, now that that's out of the way, and now that you've donated to the QC realm, which is appreciated from everyone, let's get things started, shall we? And I think I hear someone else joining us. Is he there? I can't tell. I don't
see anyone.
Nope, he disconnected again. Someone, all right, Powder. I'm gonna have you try to type in the chat there and see if we can get a hold of him. Now, let's get things underway. We have a bunch of topics. We need to get things going. So, let's start with things that everyone is talking about. Of course, that is Space Jam joining us late into the season, and people working diligently to, like we talked about last week, circumvent the system to try to get him on the team. We've seen things from, I believe, Chicago and Charlotte to take it even a step further. How does this all play out, Sev?
Well, apparently people don't know how the system works in the first place. So there was a lot of people changing positions off center. You know, shout out to Trim and to Disco, which is Chicago Wolves and the Charlotte Checkers. Apparently Brown taught Disco well, but not well enough. So there was people trying to get FSU. He's an impact player. The whole fact of him signing up late is a different issue. But, you know, there was a lot of people jockeying for that position, you know, trying to, you know, beat the system while not understanding how the system works in the first place. I know we're going to hit into a little bit later, so I'll let see if Eric's mic works or Powder, if they want to make any comments.
Yeah, I mean, the late sign-up's obviously an issue, but it made its impact down in the CHL. Not a huge one, but the Prince George Cougars, they even got 7 points in the one game he played in the CHL, which a player of that caliber, guys won almost every award under the sun, should not be touching ice in the CHL.
Eric, your mic working?
I hate this so much.
I speak static, so.
Do you? What's he saying?
I believe Eric said something is more like a, you know, the shadiness continues. It's the same people making a mockery of all this. I think that's what that static message meant.
I think you're right. To that end, though, I mean, is it a mockery? I think so.
Everyone got caught that was doing it. They got called out, and they didn't break a rule. Was shady, yes or no? Changing the positions from center to left wing is not breaking a rule. If they change them from center to defense, that's breaking a rule.
Sure.
So really, while it's shady, they broke no rules. So they operated in, and when you're a manager, you need to use the rules as your ultimate stopping point. So if they go all the way up to that line and they don't cross that line, they're using what the league allows them to, whether we like it or not. They're doing what's in the best interest for their team.
That's true. I mean, if you want to talk about doing what the system allows you to do, doing what the league allows you to do, how about being allowed to have 42 people traded for nothing? How about that?
So here's what I'll say on the 42 for nothing trade. RIP IR Ghost. The trade got approved.
Yes, it did.
Which means basically there was nothing they could do to stop the trade. We had a discussion in like 4 or 5 different threads where, you know, they could have said, well, this isn't the best interest league, you're trying to circumvent a system, because everyone knew why they were doing it except Worcester's quote-unquote drunk GM. which he was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon when the trade was made. Or it was even earlier than that. So he would have to be, an alcoholic just to make that trade. But on Iergo's credit, it was the most genius move made during the trade deadline. For 2 simple reasons. One, it increased his chances of getting FSU by like 18%. And then it also increased his chances of getting Pensman by over 18%. Both NHL players, people say Pensman's bad. I tend to agree with them, but for an AHL third line D for $500K, he's an upgrade, especially during the summer season. That being said, there was no risk involved. He made the trade. There was 200 and something players, 242 players to be assigned. He was getting every spot reassigned to him, no matter what, whether he got FSU, Pensman or not. He was still getting all those players he traded. He was getting a replacement for every single one of them, and they're more likely to be active because they just signed up.
That's true. I see Eric's talking more static. What's
Eric's all fired up, and he's just in static.
What is happening with Eric? Why is it either
Eric,
you or
Eric,
him?
Why are you try? I went to the Xbox One. We've had no issues.
What is going on?
That's done.
Eric, you don't need to be in the Matrix to be on the call. It's just a computer thing.
I can't get Mafia on the call. I don't even know what's happening right now.
It's Ire Ghost haunting us. That's what's happening.
Is that what it is? I could see that. I can see that being a thing.
He did offer to be on the show tonight.
Did he?
Yeah, actually did. We played FIFA when he was getting banned.
Interesting. So I don't know what to make of this. For me, I know Eric is going to agree. It's the ultimate troll move, right? You want to do 42 for nothing and then kind of say bye-bye to the league, knowing full well what's going to happen, right? Like, that's kind of the ramifications behind all of the second tag stuffs that we're going to get into in just a second. But at first, just doing it, like, not only does it... I see Frankie, MafiaMan's calling me, but I can't add him into the call. It's very strange.
Very, very strange.
I don't know what's happening. But, you are going to get someone to do this knowing full what's going to happen, the ramifications of it. Obviously, it's going to get reversed, but at the same time, you leave all these people in limbo. And that's frustrating to a player, Well,
the other thing is the bogs that were around when this was created, their comments were absolutely priceless. They were just flipping out all over the place. Some publicly in the chat box, others via direct message made a couple really priceless comments, but they were fired up about this. But at the same point, again, it does not say anywhere in the thing that you can't trade 42 players for nothing.
That's true.
It says nowhere there.
What do you make of this, Powder?
Well, when I saw the trade go through, I couldn't stop that little news feed at the bottom of the chat box there, and I was mesmerized at all these names popping up that the Texas Stars had traded. Then my co-host from my other show and defensive partner, J-Rod, is part of that deal. J-Rod is one of the 42. In turn, he got called back up, and it was just complete chaos in multiple CHL locker rooms, as well as on social networking, people asking what's going on. People are just so confused because down in the CHL, it's like the basement. We get the leftovers of whatever happens, and not everybody's in tune to the chat box and the major forums because it doesn't apply to them.
Sure.
And everybody's just not sure what that means. What does it mean that I'm now a Texas, or I'm not a Texas Star? I got traded, away, and they're not sure what to do. They think they're getting called up, but in all reality, it was just a troll move by Texas.
Hey, can you guys hear me now?
Yes, let me bring you in right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to have joining us right now MafiaMan, my owner of the Anaheim Ducks. How's it going, man?
Pretty good. How about you guys?
Not too bad. Glad to have you join us finally. We appreciate you fighting through the technicalities to join us. Much appreciated.
We've now had more guests than times Eric's been on the show.
That's true. Consistently. Let's get you to chime in here. We were talking a little bit earlier about Space Jam joining the AHL, how the rules are kind of in the place to not have that prevented. We talked about it last week, but now we're inside talking about the 42 for nothing trade that inevitably helped lead to IR Ghost's demise. Your take on all of that?
Yeah, I mean, I know Space Jam wasn't supposed to play this season, but he's probably the best player I've ever seen play. playing against him last year. He was on the Islanders, so saw him twice in the playoffs. I mean, I think that if I saw he only had 1 assist in his first AHL game, man, he could have probably had 7 points if he wanted to. So maybe he is taking it easy down there and not trying to be a douche. But on that, yeah, I mean, if that's not against the rules, I don't see a problem with it. But I think that's something that needs to be put in where he can't be on a team, especially for $500K or whatever he's at.
Right, because what did he go for, 11.5 last season, right?
Yeah, and that's in the NHL. I mean, if he was in the AHL, he'd be max. Like, you'd have a $500K army in Space Jam.
That's kind of all you need.
You would
right?
have the aesthetic hope. You would have the aesthetic hope situation.
Exactly.
And then, at least for the 42-for-0 trade, your thoughts on that before we move forward?
I really didn't see much on that trade for Texas. I just kind of heard about all the shit that they were doing with second tags, and I mean, like they're probably gonna have to forfeit all those games that they used the second tag in, which I don't know if that's public knowledge yet or not.
Yeah.
But the owners voted on that, and they're probably gonna have to forfeit every game that Lalonde played in.
Yeah, which is definitely unfortunate to those who weren't in the know. I don't know how many weren't in the know, but you lead to reversals and forfeits. That's exactly what happened here. Obviously, like Powder said, hey, what's going on with the CHL guys? Am I getting called up? Am I getting sent over? We don't know. Well, everything's kind of back to normal, right, Sev?
I mean, for the most part, with the reversals, it was done. And God bless MafiaMan because he manually reassigned all 42 players back to the team.
Whew.
So Tris 10 definitely needs to add a reverse trade button in there for the Bogs.
Yeah.
With that being said, here's the difference. The trade was made. IRGO was banned afterwards. He wasn't planning on quitting. There was none of that was going on. Okay, he got banned. They used the loophole, and I will give it, hats off to staff. They used the loophole properly back on, to say that, oh, well, that trade was done. Well, I don't know if they talked with whoever's taking over Texas or Dallas's owner to say if they still wanted to make the deal. It seemed like it was more of a response to outcry than necessarily what was best for either the team or organization. I mean, I can't fault them for what they did. They made the right choice to attempt to balance the league. I know there was other GMs who had told me point blank, someone that Penguin now plays for, they had a bigger deal in place after that went down to send more training camp players away to free up space if Texas is going to be allowed to do it. So there was players that know once it got done, every team would have followed suit. I know the Americans were planning on trading 5-for-1 until they got down to a really low number. There was a number of teams that were all doing it. IR Ghost and Texas just said, hey, we're not going to try and be sneaky. We're going full out.
Right, and going full out kind of bit them in the butt a little bit. I mean, all of this inevitably led to the demise of none other than someone who's heavily involved in a lot of different aspects of the AHL. IR Ghost being banned for one of the, well, it sets a precedence, one of the longest bans that we're going to see here for a little bit. 6 months site ban, 2-season league ban. Sev, you were firsthand involved in at least being witness to the downfall, I guess, right?
Yeah, I mean, me and Connor actually hadn't really been too good of friends until actually after he got banned, so it was a little bit weird. We played a lot of FIFA that day. I'm friends with a lot of the same people. Laban, for one, and Dr. D, I've been friendly with since coming to LG. My issue is not that he got banned if all this evidence is true. My issue is that if that evidence is considered evidence, okay, the picture that we all saw implicated a number of people. It implicated Crass. It implicated, who else here? Death Studio, OD, Amped Energy. All these people are implicated in the same the text. That is reason enough to ban IR Ghost. Why isn't anything else being done about any of them? Crass sent this. IR Ghost was already banned earlier this season. I asked Crass point blank in the chat box in front of everyone if this is the text from earlier in the season or it's a new one, because he said he was saved because he submitted it during the grace period at the beginning of the season. Now, if this is the same text, IRGO shouldn't be banned right now. He was already punished for it. It's the same thing. If it's not, then Crass is paid party to this, and it's been coming out more and more that Crass is involved in all these second tag bans that are going down. He knew all these people. Who else is it? Hoodie just banned on a second tag. Hopkins got banned on a second tag today. If he's party to all this, why is he still in the league? And I like Crass as a person. We've had conversations. I think he's an okay guy, but you can't have double standards. That's my only complaint.
So there's the question, Sev, right? So, Powder, let me ask you this from your perspective. Is it like in real life? Like, say, for instance, you were given something and you know you were given stolen merchandise. You can be arrested for receiving stolen goods. If you don't know, then you aren't, but you're still become a suspect. Is this the same case? If you know that there's misbehavior happening in the league, should you be punished for it if you don't report it?
If it can be proven that you knew well before that any allegations came out and you were an accessory to the crime, if you will, if you want to come from a criminal justice standpoint, yeah, then you should be punished. But, possession's 9/10 of the law. But I'm sure there are cases where there are second tags out there playing for a GM, whether it's in the AHL, CHL, NHL, whatever league, and the GM just doesn't know because not all GMs are with it. Sometimes, they got players on the inside doing their stuff. So, yeah, every GM should be looked at and spoken with, but at the same time, you can't just assume they knew because they were on their team.
That's true.
But that's also what's going on with Pittsburgh right now. Hopkins was playing on Snipe and Sully in WBS. Pittsburgh, he was assigned to WBS. No one traded for him, and M. Fritsch is not. No one's even looking a second way towards Fritsch because they didn't go out and get him. They didn't do anything to get that player to their team. He was found out to be a second tag banned, where Hoodie was acquired by Crass. Like, he traded for him knowing who he was.
So, Mafia, let me ask you this question. How does this shake you up there in the NHL level? I mean, does all this stuff happening even a league below you, how does it affect you guys up there?
I mean, well, like you said, the implications on Dallas, those are NHL guys that are supposedly playing on those AHL tags. But I don't know if there's as much second tag use in the NHL. I'd like to think there's not. But still, I mean, you have those NHL guys playing on AHL tags. And Texas is what? They're at the top of the standings, right? I think they're pretty close. That just shows you,
well, yes.
Yeah, I mean, then you have GMs of other teams that have all actual players on their team that are working really hard. And then you have these guys. I mean, we don't even know how many people actually are on their team. Like, they might have, 6 guys, and they just play on every tag.
Yeah, we really don't know, right? And that opens up the whole can of worms on where are the checks and balances. I know they exist. I know there are tools to allow it to happen. Is the site staff and league staff overworked? I'd say probably. But should we have better tools in place to prevent this from even happening and becoming a thing? I think yes.
Well, and I mean, I can say from an owner's standpoint, in the owner's boardroom, BMAC's been talking about this a lot and about how we can prevent it in the future. So for everybody out there, don't think that there's not something being done about it. Like, we're trying to figure out what's the best thing to do for the league, and Brody's working really hard on that right now. So I'm expecting there's going to be a way to check it either with IP checks or something's going to happen pretty soon here that it should be prevented.
Yeah, I agree, and it's so everyone says, okay, it'll add a bunch of and Sev, I'm going to get your thoughts real quick in just a second, 30 seconds, but let me at least give my perspective as someone who had to vet through a second tag problem in the VHL because of my brother and us living in the same household. You have to prove it, right? You have to figure it out, and I would be one of those people affected by having to go through more hoops, but as someone who's a real person, I'm okay with that. See, that's the thing, is knowing full well what the implications are and the ramifications of screwing up with a second tag. I would be fine with jumping through a hoop and holding up a sign that says it's F5 Penguin versus it's Lieutenant Brannigan. Yeah, we're brothers. That's a thing you could do. Sev, last thought on this one.
In terms of just proof and going along that line, you brought up there's no real second tag issues in the NHL. While that might be true to an extent, because getting a second tag to the NHL is one thing, there's plenty of rumors and allegations right now that have come out about last year's playoff, FSU recovering Damon's tag against Washington, against Buffalo. Now, I haven't seen the PM. There's supposedly a PM. There's also a private conversation, whether it was recorded or not, where Damon admitted to letting FSU play in his account. I don't know if it was like a joke or what, but it's out there now. It's something to be looked about. IP address checks can already happen. They should already happen. It's technology that's been around for 10 years to check IP addresses and match them against other people. It should be something that's more proactive, and I think the league's starting to realize that. They were like, okay, we'll vet accounts or whatever we have to do. And now all of a sudden we're learning out that, oh my God, we do an IP address check, and here's 3 other guys that got flagged from that same IP address.
That's it. And if you're going to be that dumb and not make the effort to avoid that, you deserve to be taken down with the fist of God.
Correct.
So let's talk about proof, right? You got to prove somebody. You got to prove that they have a second tag. Sev, again, firsthand how that process goes. Do you want to shed some light on that?
Now, yeah, very interesting as people were making up fake text messages all weekend, whether to credit or discredit the proof. There's a ton of proof that's needed in order for someone to get banned, and we have to look at that as a positive, okay? That protects every player's rights. That's first things first. So they can't just be someone walking around with a ban stick. But, once something is really considered evidence, it needs to be looked at. And if there's false evidence being generated, that person needs to be banned for whatever the length the initial ban would have been. Similar to, Trim's text message that was posted that implicated Justified D and Death Studio. The account, again, is banned. The Lalonde account is banned, proving that it was a second tag. Now we have these people, again, same names are starting to come up, playing on this account, yet they're still in the league. They're still able to play. There's nothing being done. I mean, I don't want to say there's nothing being done. I know Brody is working behind the scenes to amass proof on these people. But if we're considering something evidence, then apply it to everyone involved. And all this came out at the trade deadline, but people are saying they knew this back in week 1. Why aren't these people, I'm saying Trim, Crass, anyone else that had this information and held on to it until the trade deadline, ban them as well? Because they're being shady. They're not providing evidence that the league needs for it to be. The AHL's a mockery. I don't really care who wins a Calder because the whole season is tainted at this point. In my honest opinion, I don't care if Albany wins it and they have. Because I know most of the guys on there and they're playing on their real tags, from what I know. And guess what? I still can't trust it.
I completely agree with you, and I said that in a private message earlier today. We need transparency and consistency regardless of the name of the person. Now, let me ask Mafia here moving forward, because we kind of alluded a little bit to what the league is doing, but how do we proceed from here? Is the league really damaged, or do we just have this small group of people? Like I've been saying, we have 3,000 people at any given time, 200 on the website. Out of those 200, there's 100 who's active. Out of those 100, there's 80 of them who are just annoying little bastards. Where do we go from here?
I mean, the second tags definitely pose a problem. I mean, you come to a league with, 3,000 players. Like, I want to play against real players. I mean, I don't understand why people need to play on second tags. Hell, I can barely make my 3 games a week anyways, so I don't know where these guys are finding all the time to play.
They live for
it. Yeah, they really do. I mean, and I wish people knew how much time and effort owners and GMs put in. I mean, if they're doing a good job. Like, I just don't know how you can live for it that much as a player. Like, I know you want to play with your friends, play club. Hell, like, don't play in a league like this then. Isn't that the whole point of the league, is to play with random people and meet new people and play? Like, I just don't know what to do. It's a tough problem for hopefully league staff can figure it out and stop it.
I definitely think it's a little bit of an overworked perspective from the league. I mean, you got 5 people doing the job of what needs to honestly be 15 to 25, at least from an enforcement standpoint. Powder, how does it look like down there in the CHL? Are we having an image issue down there too? I know there's a lot of angsty people, but has it gotten to the point where participation is being affected?
That's actually been a solid point for us. The CHL has been very good. The forfeits have really dropped. There hasn't been many. And yeah, you guys are probably saying well, you shouldn't forfeit anyways. But in the CHL, it's hard to get a losing team on the ice to go get their butts kicked again. With all this stuff though, all this drama and issues and problems, trouble, all this stuff has been kept away from the CHL. So yeah, and it's a bad thing because nobody knows what's going on. But me personally, I'm looking at this as I love playing here. Obviously, that's why I do this media stuff, because it's something else I love to do. And I'm getting worried that the collapse imminent? Is Judgment Day coming where this whole thing just blows up? Last time I tried to play a sixes league, there were issues with owners bugs and all this stuff, and the league just evaporated out of thin air. Nobody's ever heard of it, and even when I talk to people that were in the league, they're like, I don't remember that. And I just don't want to see LG fall apart, because I think it's a great place to play sixes. It's the best place to play sixes, and I wouldn't want to go elsewhere and have to reestablish my, as a rookie or something.
Yeah, I agree with you. We got about 15 minutes left here on the LG Snapshot. Hashtag LG Snapshot on Twitter. We're taking your questions, comments, and concerns. Before we jump into the next topic here, we're going to take some questions right now. One for Powder. Hey, at the Wildcats on Twitter wants to know, what do you think they need to do to bring in some people as the deadline goes till Sunday?
Yeah, I looked at that earlier, and I don't think they need to do a whole lot. They have a bunch of training camp guys that they just need to contact and get on the ice. Scissors for one, McDonough XI27I, Frags and Company, like just a bunch of names that just stand out. And I'm sure if I look through some other ones, XVII Hawkeyes. I think he played defense for me last year. I can't remember if those are the exact numbers, but Moncton Wildcats aren't out of it yet, and you guys are easily in the Memorial Cup hunt. You just got to find that chemistry.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, yeah. So we don't have a lot of action on Twitter tonight. That's okay though. We're still keeping it going. Let's move on here. Obviously, going back to what we were talking about at the beginning, FSU makes its way to Chicago. It just bothers me that it was even happening, but I don't know. Does it feel a little tainted? A little bit?
In my mind, it does feel tainted. My favorite comment was Trim all over the chat box saying how we didn't cheat, we didn't do anything shady, and he was the first person to start changing people's positions. So for him to just kind of chirp out there, it was a really dumb move on his part, and let alone that they also hearing now that FSU might have been sent for compensation to Rockford. I have no clue what's going on with the whole FSU situation, and apparently we're adding another page to the book of this season, the FSU story.
Are we? Is that what's happening?
That's what it's looking like.
Powder, you have some notes here. I don't know what to make of it.
No, I mean, even a late sign-up can, as I was saying earlier, it affects the CHL too. I mean, Prince George got to use them for one game. They got 2 goals, 5 assists for 7 points, which is a great game, even in the CHL level. And the Regina Pats had to take a loss from that, and obviously it would have been a much closer game without him in there.
Definitely making an impact down here. I was afraid he'd end up on Albany, like a top team, and then it would just be a runaway, and that would even further just destroy what little reputation the once classy AHL had in the league. I would have hated to see that. At least here, if he's moving along and opening another page in the FSU dilemma, the decision, I suppose that at least keeps it enjoyable. Yeah, right? Take his talents to South Beach.
I had my talents assigned to the Chicago Wolves.
Yes. So let's talk trade deadlines, right? Because that was coming. That happened right at the same time. For me, I got moved at the 11th hour. I'm now in Norfolk, so Mafia is my daddy at this point, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Let's start at the NHL level. Mafia, how'd you make out, other than me, obviously, making your organization better by just being here? How did you do?
I guess unplugged there for a second, but I think I was the most active owner. I made like 5 or 6 trades up in the NHL. We actually got a whole nother line what we traded, so we ended up getting Jamie P from Buffalo, and he's one of the best players I've played with. I never got to play them before that.
Jamie's not what he once was.
I don't know if he was getting pulled down there in Buffalo or not, because he's 2-1 this week for us, so
maybe
he already played his 3 games.
Change his scenery sometimes.
Yeah,
even in online hockey.
Yeah, he's solid. And then for the AHL, I told Jay Rules and Heimbecker before the season that I'd let them do their own thing. And we made a trade in the NHL. We got Murphy, and we were told that he probably wasn't playing, but we took a chance anyways. Then Heimbecker sent us a message from Murphy saying he wasn't playing. So I needed to call up a D-man from the AHL, which I didn't want to do all season. And I was actually in a party with them, and they said they got offered F5 Penguin. And I said, I told him to pull the trigger and definitely do that. So, I mean, it worked out. They had the cap to do it. They think you'll replace Lethal Mike pretty well. I mean, Lethal Mike's pretty good. But, so yeah, I mean, it worked out. That was literally what? I think you got traded after 4 p.m.
Yeah, it was 4:15. I got the notification.
Yeah, so
very crazy.
I mean, we talked about that, and Albany was willing to do it because I think they needed to shed some cap.
Yep.
If I'm correct. So
yeah, that's right.
It worked out for both teams, and I mean, Norfolk's pretty sick, so.
It's true. It's all Stiff's fault at the end of the day. We can always blame it on him. NHL still staying up there for Sev. It felt like Philadelphia was acting just like the HP touchpad back 3 years ago, selling them at $99 down from $600. Fire sale going like crazy. So what happened over there for you?
It was some of the trades over there were just horrendous. There's a lot of hate going on right now in the NHL about what happened because everyone knows rosters are getting reset. So the story goes something like this. Oshie's still team owner. The first day of trade deadline weekend, Johnny Hockey is still on that team. And then they trade everyone. And I mean, I don't believe there is anyone non-management there. Drew's still in Arizona during the first day, comes back, sees his team is completely dismantled, and goes ahead and just makes the final trade away, gets absolutely nothing back, deals with everyone complaining that they're on the team, and Oshie quits. Drew's now the owner of Philadelphia, and he didn't even make the moves to put Philly in the position they are. Their players aren't showing up. They're using ECUs every night this week, but they're not forfeiting. Drew and I can't remember who Sea-Doo, I believe he called up, are getting players to at least show up. So big hats off to them there in Philly. Outside of that, in the NHL, there's a number of moves. Roast was traded twice, ended up on Buffalo at the end there. I believe he went to you first, right there, Mafia?
Yeah, yep, he went to us, and then Jamie P.
Deal. I mean, there was a number of deals, a bunch of teams fire selling. It was a lot of people viewed it as a joke. The rich got richer type of feeling. So I mean, it's very interesting. There's a lot of resentment going around right now, and people just wondering why they should finish out the season, especially those on bad teams.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys saw Philly's roster before the deadline. Like they had a pretty solid roster. If I recall, they had Hands of God, like a hard puzzle. Yeah,
played on that team. My average shots 4, and in the games I played in the 3 weeks I was there were 5. We put 5 shots on net and give up like 10 minutes time of attack against us.
Man.
Now go ahead.
I mean, I know they had like puzzle. I mean, stuff like that. If you trade puzzle, you can probably get 2 solid forwards. They have plenty of solid D. I mean, it's a summer season, so you're not going to have the full complement of players like you would in another season. So
and if Philly was in any other division, they would have been a playoff team.
Exactly. The Metro
is stacked beyond belief.
And then
with 2 teams splitting.
Oh yeah, because last year I was in the Metro. I was Flo Pooch's GM, and I mean it was a battle down to the last week. We could have finished 8th. We could have finished 3rd. Like it was crazy.
And that's the type of competition you definitely need. But like you said, I don't know if it's actually good for the league that all happened. But we'll see how it shakes out going into the end of the season. Now we can't forget about the CHL. There's a lot of things happening down there. Powder, you have the scoop on that.
Yeah, basically everybody's moving everybody. 4 for 1s, 4 for 3s, 6 for 2s, all kinds of crazy deals going on for training camp players. Not a whole lot of roster guys moving around. A few GMs have found the formula to get the players they need from other training camps and whatever else they need to do. The only team that hasn't seemed to make any moves is Kamloops. It scares me a little bit because is the team that deep and that good? Because they still have 7, 8 forwards on call-up plus 5 or 6 D-men, or 3 or 4 D-men, excuse me. So if they do happen to come back, which I doubt they will, there's still only losing on average since the call-up debacle for Kamloops. They're still only losing 1 game a week. So 8-1's probably happy in anybody's book. But the big trade is 15 DeMonte went to Swift Current. And, yeah, he's not having a great season this year. But if they can rush Pox the GM over there, and if he figures out which line to pair him with and who to play him with, that could be a huge turnaround for them, who they've kind of fallen off since earlier on in the season. But with this pickup, it could be the big pickup for the trade deadline. So
perfect. So trade deadline ending for you guys on Sunday, ended for us last week, and we'll see how everything goes. It happens and plays out leading into the playoffs for sure. Now, moving forward, you don't want to miss it. We're going to do it in just a second, but before we do, make sure you're tweeting us on Twitter, hashtag LG Snapshot. You are listening to LG Snapshot episode 4, Trades and Transparency, here on the LeagueGaming.com. We have some important stuff happening in our 3 scratches tonight. You don't want to miss out for that. And you don't want to miss out for the LG AHL Season 18 All-Star Game selections happening right after this broadcast at 11 o'clock Eastern Time here on LeagueGaming.com. Go over to our website, go over to YouTube, and go click on the other video. It's a different link because we have different shows. That's just how life works right now, okay, guys? We have amazing tools, but YouTube limits us. So go to the website, check us out on Twitter. I posted the link to the LeagueGaming.com page that has all the videos. Check that out. You don't want to miss out. It's going to be great. We're going to have some fun doing that. Now, it is time. Let's crank it up right now. It's time for 3 stars and 3 scratches. Number 3 star.
Drew B. TV, stepping up as Phillies owner, and he's going to finish out the season in a position he cannot make the playoffs. He had his team dismantled by the other management, and he's still going to be able to make the playoffs. So, hats off to Drew.
Number 2 star.
Number 2 star goes to Multi7. Not only has he been dedicated into being his player rep, he's in the forums all the time answering players' questions, constantly in everybody else's threads, answering the problems that other members could easily handle, but he's doing his job as a player rep and participating in all the media activity going on.
And that's what we need. That's a good rep right there. We need more people like that. All right, finally, the number 1 star for this week.
The number 1 star this week is everyone actually doing it right.
Because it never happens.
Not even just the people that signed up on time, but the people that are not cheating. Like, you guys are why we do media.
That's true. When it's a thankless job that we do, and Mafia, I want to at least bring up this quick gripe for just 10 seconds here. The fact that the NHL as a whole, and not everyone, but the vocal majority, seem to want all of this work handed to them without any sort of effort, participation, or respect of a response back is maddening to the media team. It makes us not want to do things. For instance, there is no NHL All-Star Game selection, at least not right now. And there should be, and that's a problem. I just want to make sure I relay that to my owner as one media director / player to another person who loves doing media like you.
I completely agree. I played in the AHL when I was in VHL, and I mean, over there, it even carried over there. More power rankings in the AHL, more players talking on the forums. The NHL, they kind of expect all these power rankings and stuff, but they won't contribute, or just like you said, they don't they think things should be handed to them, and it pisses me off too, because I check the AHL forums all the time, and you almost have a weekly power rankings by somebody doing it, and it's not just a power ranking with teams and standings and shit. They actually go in depth in almost every team, and it looks really good. Then you guys doing the show every week, I listen to it. I like hearing what you guys have to say, even though you guys touch mostly on the AHL. I would too. The NHL, nothing goes on in the NHL, just a bunch of whiny bitches, man.
A bunch of drama. We try to cover each league, though. We do make our effort to do every league every week, as long as there's stuff given to us to cover. That's the idea too. We need stuff to happen, and like you said, most stuff happens in the AHL, and then Powder holds down the CHL, which is an amazing thing because we need more of that too. But now let's do this thing. This is what everyone tunes in for. This is what keeps us in business for 2 seasons. Time for the 3 scratches. 3rd scratch of the evening.
All the late signups, FSU, Pennsman, people that make a huge impact. If you're learning about the league, you just find out about it. By all means, sign up, get playing.
Correct.
Anyone that's getting called that knows the second they sign up they're in the AHL, yeah, you shouldn't be here. I'm sorry.
That's true.
Season.
This is what I want to say.
To.
This is why we can't have nice things. That's exactly right. Number 2. Go ahead.
Real quick on that. I don't know if this is public knowledge yet either, but they're talking about late signups and first-year players only being allowed to play in the CHL and not being allowed to be called up to the AHL. I don't know if you guys touched on that or.
We've seen a little bit of that.
That is going to be implemented next season, I believe.
And we've seen that, and I think we can thank Powder P, if I'm not mistaken, we can thank Bo Cosmo for initiating the beginning stages of that, I believe.
Yeah, he did it in a manner that wasn't necessarily the best way, but he did get the conversation rolling in the CHL, and I think it'll be a change for the better. I mean, any change right now from having a bunch of cheaters in the league is better.
Definitely. Number 2 scratch for the evening.
Number 2 scratch is all the second taggers.
What
Anybody
a group of terrible people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna let Sev rip off 10 names that he can go right now.
Go.
Second taggers.
10 Hopkins. Hi, I'm Hoodie. IR Ghost and the rest of Texas. Most of Dallas.
Texas.
Zetterberg.
No, Zetterberg's his first tag. He changed his gamer tag before he came here. No offense to him. He did it right. But there's plenty more. I mean, it's ridiculous, the list that there is right now.
And this is where Sev's going to shine. I'm going to give him 2 minutes to run this one. The number 1 scratch for this week.
The owner of the Edmonton Oilers Global. This was brought to me this afternoon, and there is, I guess, it's been confirmed from a few sources that this is a thing. The league is currently investigating Edmonton as Global offered real money to other teams, I believe to the sum of $20 a trade, if they would trade with him at the trade deadline. Someone said this might have been a joke to get people to respond to him, but either way, if the league's investigating this on the weekend when all this came out and you're offering real money for people to trade you players,
terrible.
Live for it more, buddy.
Live
for it more.
Mafia, I can make anything?
I can comment. No, I didn't trade with Global. I was never offered money. There was a big post in the owner's boardroom, and I told him if he'd offered me beer, we might have been able to talk. But if you give me money, then I have to go out and get it, and that's just not that doesn't fly with me. But that has been dealt with, and I believe a suspension has been put in place, and there will be a rule about that going into next season as well.
It should be a ban. That's acting way out room there.
I believe they said that if somebody would have accepted money, if there would have been an actual transaction, then there would be a ban. But the offering of money as a result.
Who's going to post their PayPal?
Who's going to say that they accepted
the site?
Yeah, that's I don't know. That's a tough one to prove. I mean, I don't live for it enough to offer money, even if it was a joke.
Oshie took his $20. I wonder if Oshie took his $20 from Global for PHJ, and that's why he quit the league, so he didn't have to provide the proof.
There you go.
So there it is. There's your proof,
He banned himself.
PHJ, all it takes to acquire PHJ is $20.
That's it.
Too bad Tanaka did not have $20.
Oh my goodness. Well, I want to definitely thank MafiaMan for fighting through the technical difficulties and coming on the show. We really appreciate it, buddy.
Eric.
Yeah, you filled in for Eric, so we appreciate that too.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate what you guys do.
Hope to bring you home a cup this season, my friend.
Hey, I expect it. Nothing less.
Next week's guest, by the way, guys, will be Devin, a.k.a. Flaming Flamingo.
Oh, good.
A.k.a. Above Average D. He did sign on to come on next week, so we will have Devin.
Fantastic. And we're going to make sure we focus on some CHL stuff next week because we kind of left them in the dry. And Powder, I didn't mean it. It just everything's been happening this week. Drama, dude.
That's fine. We'll just discuss it later. No worries. Hey, I'm sure my guys won't get mad.
Can I give a little shout out real quick before I sign off here, boys? I'd like to, J Rules and Heimbecker have been doing a hell of a job, and they're always there to give me ECUs, and they're just doing a great job managing the team down there. I'd also like to give a shout out to the shiniest, brightest orange cone in the league, Lazy Pedestrian. Love that guy. And shout out to Flo Pooch, because I love that kid, man. Me and him go back. But thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Flo Pooch didn't win me a cup, so we're not speaking.
Thanks, Mafia. We appreciate it, buddy. Hey, Powder Pete, take this time right now to promote some of the stuff that you're working on.
All right, this is to anybody that's interested, but especially CHL listeners. We power rankings, they were a little late this week. Everybody's on vacation. Bear with me there. With Sunday nights around the CHL featuring me and J-Rod. And J-Rod will stick with the show as long as he's at LG, even though he is in the AHL this week. We're not sure if it's permanent or not. And then don't forget CHL mail time. That's despite last week's incidents, the show will go on. Call in, leave a message, ask a question. I'll answer it. It's 774-260-5411. And then, of course, LG Snapshot Tuesday nights.
LG Snapshot Tuesday nights. And don't forget, right now, hashtag LG Snapshot. Let us know what you thought about the show. No final shot tonight, but we are jumping right into the LG AHL All-Star Draft selections for
featuring
this
Eric
Thursday's
E60.
game.
Oh, wait, never mind.
Yeah, I don't know where he is. So, Powder, if you're not doing anything, if you want to join us, you are more than welcome to.
Yeah, I can stand the heat for a little bit.
You got 10 minutes to kick on the air, and then you can turn it off. I want to thank everyone for watching, everyone for tweeting. We definitely appreciate it. We had a lot of people watching live, so I hope a lot of people share the video with everyone else in LG, and we hope you enjoyed this. If you find out any news, message Sev. He is the guy that will investigate it to no end, and we will bring it to you next Tuesday. Same time, same place, every week here on LeagueGaming.com. I'm F5 Penguin.
I'm 709, about to go play a game.
Powder doesn't want to. Okay.
Powder's pulling an Eric.
I was kicking the air conditioner on. I'm sorry.
I'm
Powder.
Powder.
Bye, guys.
You're Powder P.
Powder P.
See you guys next week, 10 p.m. Eastern Time here on LeagueGaming.com.